All right, guys, welcome back. Listen, man, I ain't had a lot of stuff going on, man. Was about to move into a whole new building. Was almost about to sign the paperwork. Then that kind of blew up. That's a whole nother topic for a whole nother story. Um, we got a new addition to the show. I definitely want to give her the floor to introduce herself. Shorty Mac is still around, but she's a busy woman, man. So she got she got so much going on. So what we're gonna do with the show is we're gonna rotate it. I even have one of my other homeboys coming down, and we're gonna do some more content. But we're gonna be doing the show, and you're gonna come on about 2 times a week, and we're gonna jump in. And just a brief background. She works with us
Yes.
to create some of the crazy posts we be putting up. So
Yes.
she's not really new to this. She's new to y'all. She's not new to me. She's been working with me. She's phenomenal at what she do, and she create content on her own. So I'm gonna let her go introduce herself, and we're gonna get right straight into the show.
What's going on, y'all? It's the chaplain of the culture, Yale M. Div, Black Church Studies scholar. We here to have fun. I'm excited to be here. We're gonna kick it real chill. I'm excited to talk about these topics with James because we're always going back and forth offline. So
Yeah.
I want to see our chemistry online.
Yeah, if y'all can hear the offline conversations, man, they be so crazy, man. But we're gonna keep it PG-13 and keep it clean here for y'all because we're gonna deliver a great show for y'all. But if y'all can hear the conversations offline with some of these celebrities and how people be just trying to get over and just all of this crazy stuff, I might share the Shannon Sharp. If I share that to you, I might share that.
It's hard not to.
Yeah, it's hard not to. Yeah, I might share that one for y'all. But let's jump right into it.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
sent me this story. So
It's the city of Decatur. If you guys aren't familiar with Decatur, it's a city outside of Atlanta. The city of Decatur has approved the creation of a reparations task force to tackle historical racial discrimination against African Americans. So here's the deal. They got about 11 people on this task force so far.
okay,
The idea is that all of them are going to come from Decatur or have roots in Decatur.
okay,
And then they're going to get together different historians, legal experts, and community voices. And their job will be to document Black land and property loss,
okay.
investigate economic displacement, and gather stories from affected descendants. Okay, so we're talking about when Black folks were redlined out of property,
Okay.
when property was for sale. Black people weren't able to buy. Black people weren't able to, get into these spaces where they would have
It was stolen from them.
yes, and collect equity and kind of create that fundamental base value of like resources. So the task force will also develop proposals for memorials, economic equity programs, investment strategies, and community initiatives to help repair harm. So I wanted to ask, is in this political era of anti-DEI, this political era of, bootstrap economics,
Right.
what does this say? What are the implications of the city of Decatur making this statement?
Now I'm not surprised because the city of Decatur is a city, a hop, skip, and a jump right outside Atlanta, outside Atlanta, Georgia. And Atlanta is very liberal. Um,
Hmm.
Even though the state of Georgia is very conservative, Atlanta itself is very liberal, they're very progressive, and they try to pride themselves on being like the mecca of black culture, black Hollywood, whatever. So Decatur doing this is not off brand. My only thought is because California did this and they tried this and they didn't really get anywhere other than the other property that was given to the black family that was $22 million, the beachfront property that
That
they
one.
eventually sold back to the city or the state of California. So that was good. So my thoughts on this is if Decatur isn't going to go and divide up some of this land that they discovered through all this historians and this historical data, then what the hell are we doing? We just really wasting time and taxpayer dollars. So I want to know. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt
Mm-hmm.
that they actually are going to try to do the right thing. But a lot of times, this happen every other year. No matter who's in office, somebody try to dig up some type of reparations or some type of task force to study reparations, and then I'm just like, what are you studying? Okay, you know people got ripped off. Are you studying the amount?
Mm-hmm.
Are you studying like are you studying to see who should be compensated?
I
Like,
think that's what they're studying because if you think about it, if you are a task force and your job, your mission is reparations, how many people are going to come and say, give me some, give me some? So they really do have to investigate to see exactly which families were affected in this area so that you don't have everybody saying, because I don't know if you know what a $5 Indian is.
no, what's that? You had to educate me. Let me know.
There were people of European descent
Right.
legally getting their like ethnicity changed. If you paid $5, you could say that you are Native American, so they can get land because Native Americans were getting land for reservations and things
That's
like
kind of
that.
like was that Elizabeth Warren or one of them big politicians who lied? Yes,
Like I don't know.
Elizabeth Warren lied when she was trying to run for something. I think if she was trying to run for president or one of those things, she lied like she was Native American. And
mm,
this woman is white, is all get
as Wonder
out.
Bread.
Yeah, right. She white as hell. So I can understand because a lot of Native Americans do get a lot of it is a lot of benefits,
Mm-hmm.
especially with certain lands in like Oklahoma and all these other places that people don't think about. They have their own like damn near their own tribe
Mm-hmm.
and like their own
Oh, for sure.
sort of
For
country,
sure. For sure.
and their own laws. Like a lot of
Mm-hmm.
casinos are owned by
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Native American and Native American
That was part of
families.
the reparation package.
Yeah.
Now, if you wanted to give black people their land back and a couple casinos, I'm not mad at that.
I'm not mad at that either. Here's what I think they should give. This is something that I think Congress can actually implement and approve that would move our culture forward. Um, it's not going to be money. Unfortunately, we all want money and we want a check and we want $100,000
Yeah, it's not gonna be that.
Each person.
It's
It's
not gonna
not
be
going to
that.
be that. I think what they could do is have like a program, a grant, or something that kind of similar to like the GI Bill.
Mm-hmm.
Like when the GI Bill happened, if you was a veteran, boom, you got access to college and you got access to whatever trade school. Like my granddad, he was in World War II. Back in the day, they was discriminating against the GI Bill with African Americans.
Mm-hmm.
So he was able to go become a licensed plumber
Mm-hmm.
through the GI Bill, and that's what he built his legacy on. Bought real estate, things like that, and we can argue in these times of degrees not being as worthy, that would be even more prominent if we had some type of GI Bill or some type of stipend that allows you at least 50% off free for X amount of years in some type of trade school and then use that as reparations. I don't know. But
I think you're on a good track. I think land is good. I think something similar to a GI Bill is good, especially if you're talking about a disenfranchised group that was legally barred from education.
yes,
So that needs to be repaired.
yes.
The idea that this group of people was legally barred from education, the idea that they were cut out of access to property, real property,
This is by the federal
federal
government.
government,
Yes.
give us our land back, and then I wouldn't mind, in addition, and maybe per family or people have shares in it, but vehicles to wealth.
Yes.
So commercial property.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? All y'all want to, wear the best designer. Make the clothes.
Yeah, yeah.
Make the clothes. Get you what? We're bringing everything back to America anyway. So,
Apparently, you see what you see what happened with Louis Vuitton. We're not even gonna talk about that, but Louis Vuitton tried that. They trying that right now down in Texas, and it ain't
it's
really
not
working
working.
out.
No.
Because a lot of people, I mean, let's be honest, we're Americans, man. Like we're spoiled. Like we're so spoiled. Like, and I hate to say this because I sound like a redneck conservative, like I'm down in Alabama or
You
something.
might be
but,
part redneck. It's fine.
but it's like just a little bit part of it is like whatever. But like no matter the worst, the person that's doing the worst in America, and I'm talking about black people, right? I'm from the bottom of the bottom, from the hood. Like you doing so much, you have so many more opportunities than anybody else around the world just by being in America, having rights, being able to educate yourself, go to school. You got access to
Yeah.
books, you got access to free libraries.
Yeah.
So, as a child that came from poverty and pulled myself up, like I'm not saying everybody can do it and this, that, and the third, but there's an opportunity out there for people to do it. But speaking of pulling yourself up, my guy Diddy, man, he has to pull himself out of a tough situation, man. And I'm saying my guy like I know him. I don't know Diddy at all. And I was, it was crazy. Before all of this went on, I always used to say I had a friend. He used to be like a big Diddy fan, and I'm a big Jay Z fan, right? So they Jay Z and Diddy, you see the book or whatever. And we used to always talk about if you can work with anybody, who would it be? And he used to be like Diddy. I used to be like, I would never work with Diddy. And the reason I said I would never work with Diddy is because a lot of people around Diddy is a billionaire, but a lot
Right.
of people around him are dead, in jail, or flat out broke. And I'm like, a lot of people around Jay Z are rich. Like a lot of his artists are billionaires or still rich. Rihanna, billionaire. Kanye West, or what, no matter how you feel about him, billionaire. J. Cole, he ain't a billionaire, but I mean, he's worth like 60, $70 million. Like, he put a lot of people on, and I just feel like it's two ways to build. Sometimes you can tear people down, sometimes you can build people up.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of people that crossed Diddy path were unfortunately tore down. But let's get into it.
Yeah.
According to the Rockstar journalist and co-host of The Breakfast Club, and I really like her, Lauren LaRosa. She reports on a lot of pop culture, celebrity news, and just overall, business. She said Diddy's legal team, the Rockstar legal team that he has, he got all the money in the world, so he got the best people. They won the first day of trial when it came to the witness testimony. Now, the prosecution, they called this male stripper, right, that was in intimate, relations with Cassie and Diddy. They called this male stripper to testify on the behalf of Cassie, trying to make Diddy look like a person who is committing all these sex crimes and sex trafficking. Turns out he said he has an intimate relationship with Cassie, and she was the one directing him, telling him to do some of these intimate acts that Diddy is being accused of. And this was a bombshell in the courtroom. It's not being publicized, but the media was talking about this, and everybody was blew back by this because they're like, oh my God, the prosecution called this guy on to help them, and he didn't help Diddy. Because now he's basically saying, oh, I used to text and talk to Cassie offline all the time. This is like without Diddy. Like, we had each other number. We used to send each other videos. We used to do this. We hooked up a few times without Diddy. So now it's starting to look like, okay, is Cassie as innocent as everybody portrays her as? That is what the reports are saying. I wasn't in the courtroom. I trust Lauren when she said that Diddy's legal team won that first day. But obviously, winning a day is like
It's a long haul.
yeah, it's a long haul. That's like making the first basket or winning the first quarter in a basketball game. You got overtime. You got second quarter, third quarter,
Yeah.
fourth quarter. Even with court, you got appeals. You got all type
That's
of.
very, very true. I think it's important to note that Diddy has Brian Steele
Yes.
on his team. And if you guys don't know who Brian Steele is, he is the lawyer, the attorney, the defense attorney who was able to get Young Thug freedom,
Exactly.
basically.
Yes.
And I guess if Gunna had a held on, he would have got his freedom too. But that's a different story. I think that yes, it was a bombshell, but that happens, and they have not called Cassie to the stand yet.
Yeah, that's gonna be
Nine
the.
times out of 10, I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen. 9 times out of 10, Cassie is going to testify that she was heavily sedated.
Yep.
She was being manipulated and controlled, and everything that she said she was told to say. 9 times out of 10, she's going to say that. So I still think there is a case that
Can be built around.
yes,
that.
that Diddy is still pulling the strings. If you have somebody that you have successfully brainwashed, manipulated, groomed, whatever the case may be, then are they doing it of their free will?
Let me ask you this question: at what point does Cassie being a grown woman comes into play.
Hmm.
Now, obviously, drugs and
I was
all of
gonna
that,
say it's hard with the
all of
drugs.
that come into the play. But as a defense lawyer,
Hmm.
I can imagine them saying, "So you were sedated for 10 years?" Because they've been together for 10 years.
Hmm.
So you were sedated for 10 years. Like I don't really know what her defense would to that would be, and that's a big, question mark. If
But
it was 1 year, if it was a Young Miami fling, like how Young Miami was with Diddy for a year and a
mm,
half, okay, I can understand that.
with the
But
pink powder, I think that when you are talking about these cases, and there was something that came out that Diddy would have people on these like IVs to get you back to where you need to be,
yeah,
and then because that night we doing it again. So I do think with these like drug rinks, and when you think about stuff like, because he's being accused of trafficking,
right,
and
right,
when
right, right.
you are sorry, and when you are being accused of trafficking, drugs are involved.
Yeah,
A lot of them, and in proportions that you know would be very unfamiliar to us. So I don't know.
yeah. I ain't never took nothing. I ain't never hit no weed. So I'm the wrong person to be up here even
Mm.
talking about like how somebody could act off sedation. Like I don't get drunk. Like I don't even like the whole
You
let's get
just
drunk
raw
and do
dog in
this.
life. You
I'm
just
just raw dog in life, bro. Like I don't really get. I only got drunk probably like 3-4 times
in
in my
your
life,
life.
and that's because I didn't understand you have to eat before you drink. So I so
No
yeah,
lessons
yeah, yeah.
learned.
That was definitely a lesson. But I mean, at the end of the day, I think this is a very I think winning a civil case, I knew she was going to win that because I do believe Diddy owed her some form of compensation because he was an amazing artist and her career was
Nepotism.
derailed by being under the shadows and being under the helm of Diddy. So I do believe there's a civil case there. The question is the civil acts or the acts that Diddy did and that she did, is Diddy 100% beyond a reasonable doubt? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
right,
Like
right, right, right.
beyond a reasonable doubt, is it his fault that all of this went on? And I understand he's the big homie, he's the rich guy,
Hmm.
he's the millionaire, whatever. But even when you have the male stripper saying that, like at first this is getting kind of graphic, so I want to kind of move on from this. But he
Okay.
said like Diddy used to hide his face
Hmm.
like in the first year or so. I don't know if it was a year, but the first interactions, Diddy wasn't out there. Cassie was out there all the time. She picked them. She
Hmm.
did all of this. So, but again, like
We
you
I was
said,
gonna say we had this
if
because
she was the if she was the puppet and he
he
was
was the
the
puppeteer. Then it's hard. Then it's really hard.
that's definitely a challenge and that's a hard thing to But we're gonna stay tapped in with Lauren because she's up there in New York and
Yes.
she's reporting on it.
Very close to the
A
case.
lot of top media journalists are getting access to it, but it's not being out to the public due to privacy.
Hmm.
And you know, I think that is good and bad because a lot of misinformation and good information is coming out of it. But I mean, the judge at the end of the day, the judge and the
The
jury
jury.
has the has the last say so.
Is
Did you see the TikTok prank that went wrong?
I recently saw that.
Man, that was this is just an overall sad situation, man. And you know, as a person who grew up in the hood, I did this before, and it didn't end well. It didn't end this bad, but it didn't end well. So we stopped playing this game. So a black man from Virginia has been arrested for an apparent TikTok prank going wrong where three white kids came up to his property. He's in their sleep, not bothering anyone, just like all of us would be at 3 in the morning.
Hmm.
And three white kids came up doing a TikTok prank called Ding Dong Ditch. I know you guys are familiar with that. And banged on his door, hid in his bushes, kept throwing stuff at his house and that whole nine. The guy comes out with a gun, sees some bushes moving, shoot. One of the guys tragically got hit, and the other two kids are now testifying that it was a prank and they were not trying to break into his house. On one side, people are saying send the man to jail for life. The other people are saying, well, let him out because he's not being charged with anything. But he's actually, a lot of people are donating to his books. So you can, look people up and send money on their books. that maxed out because you can only send $200 per person, and you can only send a maximum amount, every month. So that maxed out. So now they created a GoFundMe for him. GoFundMe shut it down allegedly. This is what it's saying on Twitter. So
Okay.
this is allegedly, but
Okay.
GoFundMe has been shutting down a lot of people's stuff. So now another platform similar to GoFundMe called Give Send Go, he's raised an additional $25,000 on his behalf for legal defense. But he hasn't been charged with murder, but he's being locked up, and I don't know if he has a bond. So they're still trying to decide whether we're going to charge him with murder, or is this a case of self-defense and stand your ground. Virginia.
I was gonna say, if this is Virginia, this is definitely staying your ground.
So
100. Now, if this was New York or California, I think that's a bigger debate because those states and their gun laws,
yeah.
they're very like, why do you even have one?
But if you're at home though, not if you're out and about, that's different. But he's at home, so
That's true.
I mean, the Constitution, you got the right to bear arms and protect your house. So
I definitely have played Ding Dong Ditch. Never at 3 a.m.
never.
I've
Yeah.
never played. I was always home at 3 a.m. So
Yeah.
I think I think part of the debate needs to be like, where were the parents at?
Yes.
Well, isn't that one parent being prosecuted for the school shooting?
Yes. Yes. Some parents
So,
from Michigan got prosecuted from that.
I was gonna say, so maybe the parents should be possibly arrested.
And these were teenagers. Yeah, these guys had just graduated high school.
Yeah, so they're still under the care of their parents. So I'm not sure why they are out at 3 a.m. Doing Ding Dong Ditch. Also, I want to kind of say I wonder if it would be such a debate if it was a white man.
Oh, if the roles were
was-
reversed.
No, not reversed. A white man shot them.
Oh, that probably wouldn't even make the news.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, that's just like when black people shoot black people. Like I'm from
It wouldn't
Detroit.
make
I'm from
the
the east
news.
side of Detroit. I didn't have friends that that I was with. 2-3 hours later, these guys get killed. I look on the news, it's not reported at all. And I'm like, this guy is 16, 17.
Yeah.
Like, so if it was white on white crime, it's not getting reported. If it was black on black crime, it wouldn't get reported because the unfortunate thing about media is we're always looking for a story. And I'm guilty.
It's salacious.
Exactly. I work in media, so if something doesn't work for a story, it's kind of like, it's not as important. But race plays a role in this because it's a black man shooting some white kids. And now it's like, oh my God, black men in America are guilty until proven in this. Like, we don't have the leeway that other races or other people have of being innocent until proven guilty. They automatically throw our picture up. They throw our worst picture up, and then they throw this guy. Oh, he was a great professional sport. He was going to be a professional player in hockey or tennis or one of them sports, baseball or something like that. And I'm like, but he's at 3 a.m. He's banging on people's door.
Yeah.
Like, so we have to address what happened, not like who this guy was.
Exactly. And I think another part of that is it's 3 o'clock in the morning. You're banging on somebody's door. People paranoid.
Yeah.
Like you said, like people got families, people got trauma. You don't know what happened in this man's past. Like, yeah, he came out shooting.
Yeah.
Unlike what's his name? Roger Addison, right? Isn't it?
What's that from?
What was his name? Roger. What is his last name? He was a veteran in Florida, and he just came out with his gun in his hand. Didn't even come out shooting, and the police officer still shot him.
No, I didn't see that one.
See that.
But this is just an unfortunate situation because, again, if it was 3 in the day, I can kind of understand because it's like, all right,
different.
I'm gonna be honest with me. If something is going on at 3 a.m, I'm grabbing my gun no matter what. If I have to run to my car at 3 a.m, if I have to open the door at 3 a.m, if somebody's in my building fighting at 3 a.m, I'm sleeping with my gun. Like, my gun is next to me on the desk. So if I have to get up and somebody knocks on my door, even if it's like a friend, like I'm getting up to the door with my strap. Like, I'm not going up there at 3 a.m.
Has that ever happened? Have you ever been in a situation where like you or a parent had to kind of like assess the situation?
I got a funny story. I had to assess the situation with a family member. so,
That
so
part.
look, I'm gonna be brief with it because people listening to this probably gonna know who the people are. But I had a family member. So when I was growing up, like we used to go hustle, right? Not like sell drugs or nothing like that, but we used to go pick up junk and trash and just do cut grass, do all this type of stuff with my uncle. So one day we picked up like some TVs and some copper. We picked up a whole bunch of stuff, took it to the junkyard, and because I helped him, he gave me like $200-300, right?
Period.
Obviously,
Period.
that was small compared to what he got. He got a lot.
But you was a kid.
I'm a kid. I'm like 15, so this
Yeah.
is a lot of money,
Yeah.
right? My uncle gave me like these are street dudes. Like you gotta realize they ain't got no bank accounts, they ain't doing nothing, whatever, no Cash App cards. Cash App wasn't even out then. He give me like $400-500, like hold this, don't let me spend it. Now why am I the responsible person in this situation?
Whoa.
I don't know.
That sounds like a setup. Go
Listen, I'm asleep. My uncle stays down the street. He go out doing whatever he doing at 2-3 in the morning. He comes to my window. I live in the basement, so like you know how you live in the
It's like
basement.
under the
and
windows.
the little small window right there. He's screaming my name, screaming my name. Hey, screaming my name, whatever. So I hear him, and I'm like, oh, I'm not answering for you, Unc. You told me not to answer. He told me like, no matter what, don't give me this money back, XYZ, for a month or 6 months. Like basically, I was his savings account. 'Cause
Yes.
I was always good at
Yes.
saving. Dog. I hear him for like 25 minutes. I'm asleep like this.
25 minutes.
I stop. Like, I stopped hearing him. So now I'm thinking like, oh man, was I dreaming or something? I roll over and my uncle is in my fucking room.
No.
He don't have a key. We don't know how he got in.
To this day.
To this day. And my grandma didn't believe me. I'm like, he got in this fucking house at 3 in the morning. And then we woke up and then we looked at our door. The door was like off the... Bro, he snuck in my room downstairs looking for the money. I just grabbed the money, fucking threw it at him like T.I. off ATL. Like, bro, and then the next day I'm like, bro, I'm not like don't ever give me none of your money, bro,
Yeah.
because he broke in. I'm not telling... I don't know what he was out doing, right? But he needed that money and he came in. And he broke him. So that was the closest situation to somebody like, and it was like 3 in the morning. Like this is so crazy.
The reason why I asked that is because the argument to the right to bear arms and why it's so important
Yeah.
is usually because I want to protect mine. I have property. I have a family.
Yeah.
I always wonder how many times does that really happen though? Like it's such a big fear. It's like on somebody's like top of mind all the time. Personally, it's never happened to me. Like a family member did break into my house.
We got something in common, bro. Like, damn, what's wrong with people, bro?
But I would have never discharged a firearm at him.
Well, I didn't have a firearm at that moment. I'm 16.
Right,
so if I would have, I mean, if I did have, Unc would have been, he would have been fucked up. Like, what you doing?
And not for nothing, just back to like not hood trauma, but just back to like being around the way. How many times like I've gotten bikes stolen off my porch?
Oh yeah,
I've gotten
people
like I've been
in the backyard.
Yes,
There, jump the fence, steal
the
your
copper
bike.
pipes. When I left to go to college, and my mom moved, the copper pipes in our basement got stolen.
Yes.
Yes. So I say and the person who stole them, we found out later on we were related to that person.
Have you ever had your Cadillac converter stolen? You know what that is?
Yes, I have
People
not
do
had.
People do that too. That's what I'm saying.
What-
Like you can't be going on people's property.
Right. But I think it's very interesting because a lot of times, and this is just in my experience, when we do have those break-ins, those close calls, it be people you know.
Oh yeah, it's always somebody that you know. Yeah.
It'd be somebody that you would feel bad about.
But imagine me going into your neighborhood trying to break
Right.
into your neighbor's house. I don't know if your neighbor is an army vet with 100 guns.
Right.
But I know my cousin. I know how my
they
cousin,
move,
I know how the
exactly.
people up the street from me move.
Exactly.
So this is how a lot of criminals think. A lot of times when stuff happen to you, it's somebody that is 1 degree or 2 degrees separation from you. It's not like somebody across town that
Not
you don't know.
usually. That's why
Yeah, usually it's not
I
like that.
question the fear because usually it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes it do.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, these guys ran up on this man's house, and I feel like anybody, any reasonable person can understand how you will be fearing for your life if somebody's banging on your
Yeah,
door
3 in the morning.
at 3 in the morning, and then you come out and some bushes is moving, and you shoot into the bushes. You don't know what's going on, and just so happens somebody end up losing their life. And I think again, it's only a story because it's 3 young white kids
Yeah.
that apparently had a good life and they just was doing a TikTok prank apparently, because we never know. What if they was really trying to break in this dude's house? We acting like white dudes don't break in people's houses.
We're acting like white dudes don't lie about trying to break people's houses.
That's what I'm saying. So it's like, even if they was breaking in their house, obviously it's justified. Even if it was a prank, bro, you're at my house at 3 in the morning. So
No fear.
so
You have no fear of any type of consequences or any type
it's
of
just an
accountability.
unfortunate situation, and like we said, it's only a story because
Yeah.
of the race card. And if it was white on white people, we'd never hear about it. If it was black on black, we'd never hear about it. But because it's a white man, I mean, it's 3 white young kids and it's a black man. Now it's a huge controversy, and we live in America.
I was
So
gonna say, and that's a shame because it really should be cut and dry. But on to other news. I've been seeing a lot of these honorary degrees, right? A lot of people are getting. I had to get mine the hard way.
oh yeah, I got mine the hard way too. You know, student loans,
Right.
financial aid, books, library.
Who
yeah.
knew you could just be an all-star and get a degree for free?
Some people deserve it though. I ain't gonna lie. Some people deserve it. So we're gonna go through the list.
So far in the media circuit, I've seen Boosie. If you guys know who Boosie is, he is a rapper.
Now, do you think Boosie deserve it from? Ken, you did a little research on.
I did. So Boosie got his Boosie got his 2 honorary degrees actually from Kingdom Heritage University, which
Okay.
is a private Christian university that emphasizes Christian leadership and the Great Commission. Right? And if
Okay.
you guys don't know what the Great Commission is, it's basically to spread the word. Right? If you think about missionaries, they're centered on the Great Commission.
Right.
Right. So, and this school is in Petersburg, Florida.
Okay.
So, if you guys are familiar with the politics of Florida, it is very what is it? God, country,
Yeah.
family,
Yeah.
something like that, right? Usher also has a honorary. Now he got his from Emory.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just saying it's levels.
And he was the
Keynote-
commencement speaker.
As well as Simone Biles, who was also the commencement speaker and received an honorary Doctor of Humane from the University of Washington in St. Louis.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know if you saw Boosie. He felt very like he did a whole kind of like live about it, or just he posted a video saying that he had a very hard time the day prior. He was trying to get something done, something fell through, and then the next day he had this great honor, which was to receive like these 2 honorary degrees.
Right.
Here's the thing: to call Boosie an example, like a prime example of a Christian, I think that's very interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's
And the Great Commission, I think it's very interesting. Boosie hasn't been as like pro Great Commission, pro Christianity as much as he's been like anti-trans, anti-gay,
pro
like
street culture,
Yeah.
pro gangster,
Yes.
standing on business.
yeah. So I'm like,
He's like one of the last left in the music industry that's like no snitching,
Yes.
stand on business.
yes,
Like,
yes.
remember that album with T.I. that he canceled because T.I. allegedly snitched?
No.
And then I mean they got back cool or whatever, but you know like T.I. and Boosie are like real cool. And they
Yes.
had an album together. And do you remember when T.I. got caught with 100 guns or some shit like that?
You can't miss that one.
It was some alleged, words that he snitched on his dead cousin or one of his cousins or one of his dead
That
homies or
doesn't count.
something.
If you put that on somebody,
But
that
that counts
doesn't.
in street culture though.
It shouldn't.
Hey, we know. Hey, don't do nothing with her.
No, if you gone, all my crimes are on you. If you
in
are
street
gone,
in street culture, you
what?
can't snitch on nobody. You can't snitch on the dog. You can't snitch on
You can't
nobody.
lie on the dead
You can't lie on the dead. You
or
can't
tell
do
the truth
nothing.
on them. Whatever the
Tell the
case.
truth. You can't do nothing. So that's all alleged. And then Boozy went on Vlad TV like going off talking about the album canceled, this, that, and the
Oh
third. They canceled the
wow.
album. We definitely wanted a Boozy album, T.I. album, but they canceled that. And yeah, that's so
Because he's
Boozy.
sticking to the code.
Boozy is to the code. He ain't got nothing to do with Christianity, nothing to do with leadership. I think he would say he's not a leader. Like he would
Yeah.
say that. But I mean,
He might feel like a leader in the streets. Like he might feel like like you said, like
the big homie is still
yeah,
the real one left and
the
all of that. The
OG.
OG, yeah. But he's definitely ain't. He not the Christian leader.
So it's interesting. I think the humanitarian degree or the honorary degree is just off brand.
Yeah, it's very off brand. I
I
think
think
it's on brand for
Usher.
I think it's on brand for Usher being a Atlanta native. Like, he's from Atlanta. Emory University is a
Yeah.
private. It's like the Ivy League of the South. That's what they call it
Yes,
down
it
here.
is.
It's a very good school. Usher, one of the best R&B artists ever.
All time.
So I think that one is granted. So I'm gonna put an X on Boozy. They 2 out of 3 right,
Right,
now.
right,
Simone
right.
Biles, obviously
Yeah.
Olympian, world champion, the GOAT of her sport. So I can understand that being a commencement speaker. And like you said, she had a powerful speech about how
She did. She said one of the things that I remember she said was that she's often referred to as the GOAT, the greatest of all time. But she never aspired to be the greatest of all time. She only aspired to be the greatest Simone Biles of all time.
Yeah.
That she's always looking for the best version of herself. And it turned out the way it turned out. So she was
Yeah.
kind of encouraging everybody to just be the best version of you and it'll work out.
And I love her story, man. She was adopted. She had a lot of things going on when she was a kid. So was Gabby Douglas. So they all
Yeah,
were just
that's true.
inspirational. I remember like I never I'm not a crier. Like, I don't cry a lot. Like I can probably remember the times on my hand. But when I watched that Gabby Douglas documentary, I shed a
Really?
little tear, man. I shed a tear. I shed a
Wow.
tear, man. That was big because
I,
what people don't know, like I actually got adopted. So like a lot of people don't know that
I
about
didn't
me
know
because
that.
people think I'm just this privileged rich dude with a good brand and I just had a perfect life. But like yeah, like I lost my mom when I was young, and I ended up in the foster care when I was like 4 to like 6, and then I got adopted by my grandparents, similar to like a Simone
I
Biles,
was gonna
Gabby
say
Douglas situation. And well, Simone Biles got adopted by her grandparents. I think Gabby Douglas got adopted by a whole new family.
a whole new family,
And like
and I think her parents kind of gave her to them to
yeah,
like, cause
people
like you
don't
can take more.
understand like 40% of the prison system, 40 to 60% of the prisoners are like adopted because you grow up not feeling like you belong, you don't have a home, and you end up doing something crazy to eat or something crazy to survive. And I mean, in prison, you have a home, you got health care, you got all of that. So a lot of people be feeling like, well, I might as well just go to jail. Like it sounds crazy to say, but as somebody, before I even was doing this, I was like going to speak at a lot of I was doing financial literacy coaching and helping a lot of these foster youth transition into adulthood because after they turn a certain age, now they're like on their own. Now imagine being adopted, feeling like you're alone in the system for 10 years of your life, and then you turn 18 and they're like, oh, go to the wolves.
Right.
You don't know nothing about life. You don't have any family. You're just out here on your own. You don't have no place to stay.
No support.
No support. So you can see why,
The trajectory
the
is what it
trajectory
is.
is what it is. And like, I mean, like I'm a miracle child. Like, but when I be telling people this, like, and I tell people my story, they be like, dude, like, how the fuck did you end up where you at? And it's because, like, man, like I was grateful to be able to, I was lucky to be able to get adopted by my grandmother. But I went through like 3 different foster homes
Before you got there.
before I actually got there. Um,
How cool is that to, have that story and then kind of see like Simone Biles and
Man,
see
that's what
again,
I'm saying. That's
right?
why it was
Like,
so emotional to see the Gabby Douglas situation because she came before Simone, so
hmm
she kind of laid the ground rules, and then she like got hurt and
yeah,
had a few different situations. But she actually saying she trying to come back for 2028 Olympics, so in LA,
okay,
so that'll be dope.
okay.
But
Yes, we're rooting for you, Gabby.
it was very inspirational, man, because I don't know when it came out, but was I in college or was I in high school? I was either in high
Mm,
school or like a freshman in college or something. And like, man, I shed a tear, man. I remember like, damn, man, because like seeing people who relate to you and come from the same struggle, it gives you a sense
that
of self
inspiration.
esteem and like, damn, like I'm not alone in this world. Like being somebody that came from being adopted to now, I'm like, running a successful company and I have dreams and goals and aspirations and like I can do it.
Yeah.
Even though I ain't no athlete, like I'm not.
And you don't have to be,
Yeah,
and you don't have to be a pop star or R&B star like Usher. I think the putting Usher in a position to be a commencement speaker, putting Simone Biles in position to be a commencement speaker, they are.
excellent at their
I was
craft.
gonna
I think that's what it.
say
Yeah,
they're excellent at their craft. They are they're very like they're humanitarians, like
yeah,
they give back. And people are familiar with them. They're familiar with what they've done.
yeah,
I think my commencement speaker was like, I don't even remember. Like I don't even remember my commencement.
yeah. I
So
don't remember
also
mine either.
I was about to say, so also I really like the idea of putting people in these places that other folks are familiar with what they. Even when I was working back in mortgage, we had
Yeah,
this huge oh my god, it was called the leadership conference. It
yeah,
was huge, right? It
yeah.
was somewhere in New Jersey in one of the at the Borgata, right?
Mhm.
um they had Steve Wozniak there.
Damn.
That's what I'm saying. So like even the companies know I need to get somebody that people are familiar with
Because
their
a lot of times it's not
brands.
the message, it's the messenger.
Yeah.
Like if I walk into a foster home and I'm speaking to kids and I'm a good dude who grew up in like one of my friends. He grew up in a private school his whole life. Like he had both parents. He ain't never had a fight. Like you know what I'm saying. Like
Mhm.
if he go in
Mhm.
there speaking, he can say some good words, but they not really fucking with him.
Yeah, they
They're
can't
like, bro, you
resonate.
ain't never went through nothing. You had a great life. Like
No.
I don't like. You need to
No.
go speak to somebody else. Like
Mhm.
let's be honest. But then they bring me in, and I lost my parent growing up. I was adopted. I was in and out of multiple foster homes. I was in and out of court. I still vividly remember stuff like
Mhm.
I have the war wounds to show them like I made it. I went to college. I
Mhm.
educated myself.
Mhm.
I built a business. I traveled the world. I know how it feels to be alone even if you're around people who claim they love you. I know how it is to be taken advantage of financially or not understanding money or not
Yeah.
understanding the system that you're in.
Yeah.
So I think it's very inspirational and it's the messenger. You have to like just being around people sometimes is
Yeah.
inspirational and make you
Yeah.
feel like you can do it. Cuz if I mean, let's just be honest. Let's say some fucking white dude from Oklahoma or one of these places grew up privileged come and tell you, hey, you can do it. Yeah,
Yeah. I'm
your
sure.
parents your dad gave you a law firm. Of course
Mhm.
you can do it.
Exactly.
Like my dad ain't, you know what I'm saying? He ain't in
Yeah.
my life. So can
Mhm.
I do it? I need to see somebody
Yeah.
who reflects the same thing I went through. So I understand that.
No, I like that. I love latching on because there's so little light. You just gotta latch on to whatever beams of light that you can get. And
Yeah.
if that's a commencement speech, then so be it.
Yeah. Jaden Daniels. I don't know if a lot of y'all watch football because the black community we supposed to cancel football like 3 years ago.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
We supposed to cancel
I,
football, but
I canceled it except for the Super Bowl.
see, you supposed to cancel. You supposed to been protesting with Cap. But Jaden Daniels, he's a star quarterback for the Washington Commanders, and we have a clip here where his mother
I
is
want to see this.
explaining. We're gonna watch the clip and then we're gonna come back. All right, so we just watched and listened to the mother of the star athlete Jaden Daniels, and I'll just say this. I mean, I'd rather that than nothing. Because a lot of these athletes, man, listen, they be going and they family just sit around, and in the black community, if you got money, you are the leader. Like that's how the black community
That's true.
is. Like if
That's
you
true.
if you 18 and you a millionaire, like your old uncles who 65 or who done been around the block, they look at you as the big homie. Like now they asking you for money and they not telling you the truth. So like I salute her for actually standing on business and saying, like, for one, being his agent and his manager, managing his foundation and his brand. So that's one thing. But two, she's standing on business and saying, I'm not about to let I'm not even about to name some of these girls, but some of these OnlyFans models, or, and, a lot of them are beautiful too. So they're going to catch your eye and you come around and it's like, they know exactly what parties to go to. They sit courtside, they come to the games, they get backstage access to stuff. And they're only doing that to put the pressure on your little 19, 20, 22-year-old son who's a multi-millionaire. And here's the problem.
Okay.
And this is the problem that people don't want to talk about. The reason Jaden Daniels is Jaden Daniels and he's an expert at his craft is the reason he will be getting taken. He's an easy target to get taken advantage of because he probably wasn't extensively dating when he was 16. He was playing fucking football. He was going to tour days. He was working out. He was studying. So that makes him a very easy target to a stripper, a porn star, one of these ladies that's very seductive with their words and their bodies and all of this. They easy. Somebody like me who grew up, and I grew up in the hood, and I done dealt with so many different women growing up. By the time I'm 24, 25, I understand how to deal with women, but I also don't have $100 million when I'm 24. So I don't really got nothing to get manipulated on when I'm 24. Shit, I was trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But like, that's what make him an easy target because he's an expert, because he probably only been with a few girls his whole life. Like he probably ain't been in the streets and got the street smarts that is needed to protect his wealth. So it's easy to get a baby, and once they get a baby, that's the meal ticket. They don't even got to get married; they just need a baby, and you can get a baby in 5 minutes. That's not hard. Yeah, one. That's not hard to do. So I actually salute her. A lot of people meme her and talk shit about her, but we need more parents like that.
I definitely think we need more parents like that. I don't know though if she's being entirely honest. I didn't feel okay running the foundation, being in charge of the brand.
Yeah, that's kind of not answering the question.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one thing. Why are you on a date with him?
No, I don't. Was that? I did see the clip. I don't know if that was real or like
She was in the car.
she was in the car because she
What you
definitely
trying to say?
tried
It's a deep fake?
No.
Okay.
That's AI, right? She definitely was like trying to get out of the picture, like when they had the cameras of stuff. I did see that, but I don't know if that was a date or if, I don't know. I'm trying to defend
It
her.
feels. I know, because she's a good mom, and we love good moms.
I'm trying to
I
defend her.
think the idea that, and I think there was another clip, and I'll try to find it so we can include it here. There was another clip that he was at a basketball game. I want
With
to say
Juju Watkins. Now I was
With-
mad at that one.
Yes, because
Juju,
she ain't no stripper.
Juju
She
ain't no. If he gonna date anybody, he should date Juju.
and I don't like that. So it's not the wrong type of girl. It's any type of girl. It's any type of girl that shows any interest and that my son might be showing interest in. And I think I'm not a mother. I'm gonna put that out there. There are mothers, however, I've been exposed to mothers that make motherhood their entire identity.
Oh, of course.
Which is necessary a lot of times, especially if you're a single mother. And so you're carrying the whole, so that is your identity.
Of course.
And so what happens is it's hard to cut that umbilical cord. This is a personal problem. This is a personal problem. She is not able to say, I've done a great job. I'm going to help guide you, but you are an independent person. And you're going to make some good choices.
Would you
and you're
rather
gonna make
this or nothing?
Some bad choices.
Would you rather this or,
I think
the Drea situation
I
where
think
with Drea
right. Where's
48
his mama?
and 45 and dating a guy that's the same age as her son.
Right. I think that I don't know where his mama is at in the situation or his parents, his guardians or anything like that. I don't believe that there has to be these two extreme binaries, though. I think that is the issue. The issue is that you have a Jalen Green who may not have as much guidance in his life,
Hmm.
and then you have a Jaden Daniels who is being helicopter mommed at 24. And then I just also want to point out that, she's kind of infantizing him because he is 24.
Yeah.
And I think that when it's women and they be 19, hi Shannon, they grown. They grown women. So it's like, which one is it? When he's an athlete, when he's a high paying athlete, he's a kid. When she's a teenage OnlyFans star, she a grown woman. They both making money.
Yeah.
They're both professionals at
That's
their
a good
career.
point. That's a good point.
So I also think that this is something, and that also, not to be messy, but where's her man at?
I believe the dad is there.
Okay.
I believe the dad is. Let's do that research. I believe the dad is there though. I believe
because
believe,
it stands out that like it's
I'm gonna give her the
only
benefit of the
her,
doubt.
and it's not his dad. That because you know who's a great dad, Coach Prime,
Yeah.
wonderful father. You don't necessarily see this type of helicopter parenting from people who understand that like I have to at some point let go. I did a great job. My kids are great kids. And his daughter did have a baby. That's what I'm saying.
He wanna see. He's just in the background though. She's his manager and
Yeah.
all of this. So she's
Well,
up.
okay, so he's in the picture. So you know how dudes, they show up for the picture. Was he a part of his life?
Yeah, it says two of his biggest cheerleaders.
Okay.
Career milestone. Yeah, he was. His dad was a college star, football star.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that don't mean anything because he just get it from the genes or whatever. But like, I'm thinking, I'm gonna put my money that he was there.
He-
Was in the audience. It don't seem like they together though.
They're not together. So she was the primary caretaker then.
They raised Jaden in San Bernardino. Okay. Continue to put under San Bernardino where they raised Jaden. The cities where their son kickstarted his career. Yeah, I mean, it seemed like he was there though. So,
But he's not taking the role of, well, he's not all, I'm going to be in charge of the brand. But also, he's like, you got it. Here's the thing. I think we talked about this before. Your children are going to do what they're going to do. You can talk to them till they blow in
Yeah.
the face. Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, his daughter got a baby with Jacquees.
yeah.
It is what it is. Like,
I feel like, again, I feel like she's getting a bad rap. It was definitely some clips that went around that
she
make her look
definitely
like this
is getting
helicopter mom.
a bad rap.
But I definitely would rather that than the Drea situation where these older women are waiting on these athletes to sign these deals and they come in to basically get their bag because these older women, you got to think about it.
Okay.
If I'm 22, right?
Yeah.
That means when Drea was in her prime at 30 or 33, 35, like that was the woman I wanted. When I was 15, I couldn't get her. I'm 7 years, now I'm
Yeah,
22
senior.
and she's 40, 42. Now like, I got $100 million. Like, hey, I can actually get you. So on the guy side, again, he just want to fulfill a fantasy that he had since he was 13. On her side, she's trying to retire. So there's a different there's a whole different dynamic with the older women and the younger men.
So if she was younger, if she was also 24 and had a baby with Jalen Green, that's fine.
Yeah, of course.
She could get the bag.
Of course.
So I think it's very interesting because
Well, okay, hold on. Let me
Okay.
let me say this.
okay.
Me personally, I'm of the mindset of you grown, you grown. The 19-year-old girl that was doing her thing with Shannon, I think if it was consensual, you grown, especially you on OnlyFans, you grown. Like, if you can go to the army and fight for America, I believe you can decide who you date. Now, is it morally
Right, ethically.
Ethically, that's debatable. I'm a person that goes by, we have to draw the line somewhere. If the line is 18, we should be okay with that. If she's 18 if a girl is 18 and she's dating a 30-year-old guy, as long as it's legal, I wouldn't want my daughter to do that. I wouldn't want my sister to do that.
I was
But
gonna say,
I don't think we should pass judgment on that, because it's like at some point we have to draw a line. But then, so with Drea and Jalen Green, I'm okay with that. Here's the problem though.
okay,
I'm okay with that, but a lot of people not okay with the Shannon Sharp situation.
okay.
So it's like
I'm not okay with the Shannon Sharp situation.
when older men date younger women, people get, oh, you a predator, you this, you that, whatever, even if it's consensual. Only with black men though, because what about your mans that used to run the Patriots? What's his name? Bill Belichick. He's 80 and his girl is like 23.
I don't know that man.
You
I
know
would
who
have problematized
you know who
that,
Tom
though.
Brady is, right?
I do know Tom Brady.
Tom Brady's coach.
Okay.
Yes.
His girlfriend.
His girlfriend is like 20. Look, Google Bill Belichick girlfriend. She's hot little 22-year-old, 23-year-old, and ain't nobody calling him a pedophile. Ain't nobody saying nothing to him.
Okay, so this
They
is
saying he living his life.
Bill.
Belichick.
Oh, is that him?
Yeah,
Right
that's
here?
him right there. He's a coach. He's like a football coach, and he coached for the he's like the head coach of University of North Carolina now. He was the Patriots head coach for 20 years or 30 years or something like that. But he got a young whippersnapper, and everybody
Not whippersnapper.
Everybody, like, she's on the interviews and stuff with him.
Is she?
Yeah, look at her. That's his girlfriend. She's 24.
That's his girlfriend.
And he's
That's a
easy.
mess.
He easy 70.
Easy.
But
That's
that's what I'm saying. So it's like, okay, she's 24.
Do they have a child together?
No, this is like just happened.
This just happened.
And apparently she got like 8 properties in her name now, all of a sudden. So we don't know what's going on with that.
She looked kind of. Here's the. I want to say 2 things to that. I hear you when you say, okay, when it's a white man, the press doesn't get, in a frenzy or anything like that. I would say that a lot of times, because of trauma, black people stay out of white people's business. Like,
we don't.
like,
it's like you're
we
not
know
gonna live on some white people rules.
Yeah,
Shit. I understand that.
we
Of course.
know way more about Keke Palmer than we do about Taylor Swift, and Taylor Swift is huge.
Huge.
And
Right.
I can't tell you all the ins and outs the way I can tell you about Keke Palmer. I can tell you about Beyonce or Rihanna before I can tell you about Miley Cyrus or anybody else. So I feel like also, I don't know about the white side of the media. Maybe they do have a problem with this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know how they are responding, because from the little bit that I do know, Taylor Swift got into some kerfuffles. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but people were critiquing her, like being sexually liberated. People were critiquing Miley Cyrus.
Of course, yeah.
Like there was. So I don't want to say that they don't have a problem with this. I can say that I don't know what types of, because I'm not on that side of media. I'm not on that side of the responses to this. The other thing, we really got to think about what impact, what we're trying to communicate when we say, okay, but when it happens to them, we don't really talk about that. Because the other part is, it's wrong for him too. You know what I'm saying? Like, a lot of people do that with Trump and Obama. Well, if Obama was doing the things that Trump was doing, Obama wrong too.
It wouldn't even be a question.
Yeah, Obama wrong too. Like, I'm not loyal to a color or a race. I'm loyal to an ethic. I'm loyal to a principle. So I think that's also something that we have to really center. Like, are we building our consciousness off of who does what, or are we building our consciousness off of being aware and mindful of, like, the principle? And then the other part to what you said, like Shannon Sharp.
Right.
Shannon Sharp stands in a long line. Drea stands in a shorter line. Like,
What you mean by that?
okay. The reason why it's so big with Shannon Sharp and kind of like, just problematic with Drea was because Shannon Sharp is perpetuating a a system of powerful men being able to access, manipulate, control, kind of like the Diddy situation,
Is it
kind of like the Bill
manipulation?
Cosby situation.
All right, hold
Like, you know
on.
what I'm
Is it
saying?
manipulation and control if he's paying her $50,000 to have?
A cheek.
Yeah, 25 a cheek. She getting paid. That's not manipulation if she getting paid. She manipulating him.
I hear that. The other part is, right, there were text messages. I don't know if you've read the text messages. There was text messages that said, and I'm going to be PG. You guys got to read between the lines. There was text messages that said, I asked you to cover yourself up, and you did not. And I asked you not to play in the backyard. I only wanted you to play in the front yard, and you was playing in the backyard anyway. Now, this is why age matters, because when you're a seasoned worker, you don't play that. When you're a seasoned worker, if I tell you to cover yourself up, oh, best believe ain't nothing happening until you cover yourself up. When you are tried and true in this game, ain't no like, no, you're not a young girl no more. Those type of things, they don't fly. You don't give passes. And so that's why that matters. There is a certain type of like assertiveness and just like,
So you saying Shannon Sharp is guilty because the girl didn't have her shit together and did not stand on business with her service she's providing.
I'm saying that is where you can have room to manipulate people. Yes, when and
But
people
where
attest
at
to
what
that.
age?
Okay.
At what age does she become see? Because this is the
Okay.
problem that I have. This is the benefit of being a woman, is that y'all can be children and y'all can be grown ass women in the same conversation and it just be okay. like as a grown man, I'm always a grown man. But like women are put in a box as, oh, she got manipulated. Oh, this happened. And I understand things be happening, right? I'm not trying to play like, oh, women are not victims in certain situations or this, that, and the third. But let's stick to the facts of the OnlyFans
Okay.
girl that was doing their thing with Shannon Sharp. At what point is she's a grown ass woman who is selling her body? Like, at what point does that become like she's not a young like the R. Kelly situation? You cook, bro. You dealing with
High
young,
schoolers.
you dealing with young high
But
school girl, whatever. At some point, that's why I'm saying the line with me
Where's the
is the
line?
18.
So here's the thing.
Now, if they want to put it up to 21, I'm with
Then
that
that's
too.
the line. Okay.
I'm with that too.
I think we are in a paradigm shift because we're seeing harm being done, and just because something is legal does not make it right. Slavery was legal, right? And that didn't make it right because it was on the law. So the idea that you are legal doesn't make it right. Doesn't mean you should do it. There was a time where domestic violence wasn't even on the law. Like, and these women was getting they asses handed to them left and right, but that
Right.
wasn't a law. So we are in the middle of a paradigm shift where we are reevaluating, do these things work? And I think if we were going to do the work to interrogate the law and say, does that work? That grown is 18? Yeah, it works if you want soldiers. It works for nothing else. You can't rent a car because the insurance companies know
Well,
you a
you
knucklehead.
can rent a car.
Yeah, but you can't rent a car without the underage fee. Because
That's because of the risk, though.
yeah, okay. So what are they acknowledging though? Let's go further.
Well,
Why is there a risk?
Well, there's a risk because
Kids under 25. So that's what I'm saying.
because of the history of you have, kids crashing cars, and this might be your first car, and you don't really have a 10-year history of driving, and it's just riskier.
Yeah, and it's riskier
But
because
that's
that
through
maturity is not
statistics,
there.
though. But if the insurance companies are a business, they're trying to make money. So if they felt like 18-year-olds was the safest on the road, they would rent to 18-year-olds.
They sure would.
So they're not the best culprits to be like, oh, they're going by the book.
I love what you said though, because they might be. if you're talking about statistics. So
Right.
statistically, y'all are crashing cars. Y'all are getting way too excited.
Drinking and
Y'all are drinking
driving.
and driving. These statistics can.
I'll go for it. All right. President Trump is on a revenge tour. So, if you guys are not familiar with the Attorney General of New York, Letitia James, she is the one that famously um, got Trump the 34 counts of fraud,
Mhm.
mortgage fraud, and he has to pay. He got a $434 million judgment put on him. Now, if he's going to be able to pay, if he's going to have to pay all that, that's all getting litigated by the courts and all of that. But now he's actually going after her, and the DOJ, Pam Bondi that Trump appointed is going after her for mortgage fraud because allegedly, going back even 40 years to even 2023, she committed mortgage fraud. Now, we both was in the mortgage industry. We know how easy it is to commit mortgage fraud. So apparently, as the Attorney General of New York, and you know, a government worker, she said her primary residence on a mortgage application was in New York.
Right.
That's problematic because as a primary resident, you get better terms, better rates, and it's easier to get a home versus if it's a second home or an investment property. The second allegation is that she put on the mortgage application that her dad was her husband.
Right.
In dealing with certain mortgage applications and certain mortgage products, your husband's income and your husband's debt to income and his assets is considered one in community property states, which gives you a favorable term in order to get a loan. Now, all of this is going to be litigated in court, and obviously people are saying this is a revenge tour. I believe two things can be true: that Trump committed mortgage fraud, she committed mortgage fraud. But if she would have never went after Trump, they would have never went after her. They all do it. The Democrats all they did it to Trump. They did it to Trump family. They did it to other Republicans. And now the rabbit gets the gun now. Trump is doing it to all the Republicans. He's going to do it to Fannie Willis. She's getting hit up down here in Georgia. But the
Ciao.
Attorney General, Letitia James, is under hot water for mortgage fraud.
I just want to clarify something. The primary residence, I think you accidentally said New York. It was Virginia.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, Virginia.
Hmm.
She is in New York, but she put her primary residence was in Virginia, which is problematic because you're a government worker for the state of New York. So you legally like have to stay in New York.
And that has a lot to do with taxes. That has a lot to do with like just
I
the
mean, you
different
wouldn't want your
benefits of the.
mayor staying, or the mayor of Detroit staying in Chicago, like driving up on the weekends.
That's true.
Yeah, you
That's
know.
that's very true. So you need to be like by the people of the people, like in that area, because you
Yes,
need to be aware of the issues that are going on
and
in
you're
your local
funded by taxpayer
communities,
dollars.
and you're funded by taxpayer dollars. I think that it's true. He's going after her because she went after him. Um, and I think they can do this all day.
Yeah.
Like I think there's going to be something else in Trump's background that she can then go litigate after that. Like I don't like this whole plane that he's trying to accept from Qatar or
Yeah, I
something
don't
like
know.
that.
$400 million plane. I don't know how that's gonna work,
No,
but
and that people are saying it's unconstitutional. so I definitely think like I don't know if this is a game Trump want to play because you're not going to be president
well,
forever.
but he's going to. Here's the problem. Here's the good thing that's in favor of Trump is
Okay.
the Supreme Court just ruled
Mm.
that presidents are basically
Immune.
immune.
Even after the seat though? I'm talking about what 2028?
Basically, yes.
Mm.
The vice presidents and all of them not, but basically they said like basically the presidents are pretty much immune to any acts that they did um,
While sitting.
while they were the president. But who in their right mind is going to go after a president after they get out? Like
That's
that's
what
damn near unconstitutional.
I think that Letitia James might. Like I think
But
if
is she gonna
they
have her job then though?
if they get a judgment on she still has connections. Like if they get a judgment
So
on
she
her,
wouldn't have to do it. It
she
would have
would.
to be like
Oh, I definitely think
the
she
other
would
Democratic
prop
Party.
somebody
Yeah,
up. I
yeah.
definitely think she would prop somebody up to help her um, find out what he did while he wasn't sitting, because remember he had them 4 years that where he wasn't president. He was just campaigning
Yeah,
for
yeah.
for 4 years straight, and who knows what types of things was happening there. If it was all above board, I doubt it. So I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. He is a man of a lot of privilege though, and I don't think people want him in jail. I think that's
Well, he's never going to go in
no.
jail for one because of, like, it's so, like, the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
So he has the
He could
Supreme
go all the
Court,
way up. He could appeal,
and
appeal,
all
appeal.
of those Supreme Court justices that are in there, they're old as hell. They during his third term, they're going to all step down, and he's going to have the Supreme Court for the next 30 to 40 years. I'm going to be honest. The person, people don't want to say this, that one lady that died that was a Supreme Court justice, she fucked the game up. She's the reason affirmative action, Roe versus Wade, all of that got overturned because she gave the Republicans the Supreme Court by not retiring under Obama, and she died under Trump. And then somebody else retired. So Trump put 2 or 3 Supreme
So
Court
many.
justices in there, and that is for the next 20 to 30 years because these people are 50 and 60 years old.
But also there was some type of like law they was making Obama abide by that they didn't make Trump abide by. Like his last term when he was about to leave, he was trying to put somebody in the Supreme Court, and they were like, "You can't do it for whatever reason."
Well, it was you can't you can't force someone to retire. The Supreme Court is a lifelong thing. Like
Yeah.
you can't force someone to retire. So I don't know. I'm not familiar
I'm gonna have to look it up, but there
but
was some type of law, bylaw, or
I
something.
know the young but she's not a young lady anymore,
A
right?
lady.
She's older, but she didn't want to retire. She didn't want to give up her seat, and like 6 months later,
She
after
passed.
Obama, like she died. And anybody who died right now, it's fair game because Trump is in office, so he's just gonna put
Yeah,
his people
yeah.
in there or whatever. But the Supreme Court is so powerful because they can just always overturn something and say unconstitutional or
Yeah,
this or interpret
yeah.
this or that, and like
But also, they can't do that with like interracial dating, and they can't do
why
that
not?
with gay marriage because they codified it. So
Mm.
they made it so that this is an ethic that we care about. This is a freedom that we want to keep. So we're going to codify this law. That's what Biden made sure to, which is like, okay, you made sure to codify like same-sex marriage and interracial dating, but we didn't make sure to codify Roe v. Wade or affirmative action.
Yeah, that don't make sense to
So it's
me.
like you picking and choosing what you want to codify.
And I think, I mean, unfortunately, a lot of those powerful men in those places, a lot of them gay too. So they probably like,
And they love to date like they do the interracial dating.
yeah. So they kind of like, yeah, that's a fabric of America. But this whole diversity thing, no, that gotta go.
Mm-mm, mm-mm.
So guys, we appreciate y'all, man. We've been going at it for a minute. We do this twice a week. So make sure you guys subscribe to the YouTube channel. You're going to see the clips online. You're going to see the clips on Instagram. Make sure you guys comment on the clips. Give us your feedback, the good, the bad, the ugly. You know how I am. I don't care if y'all cuss me out. All I care about is the engagement y'all give and the feedback, so we can continue to grow our brand and we can continue to get the message out. We're not here to make you agree with us. We're here to inform you about what's actually going on in the world. You make your decision on that. So you can follow me, James Hill TV.
You can follow me at the Chaplain of the Culture on IG or TikTok or YouTube.
And make sure you guys stay tapped in. We
Right.
appreciate you guys. Peace.